Whoa. 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 Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Kakadash, the double and Shaw apostles, the elders great millstone. I'm going to say shalom. All right. To all the Akim there preaching the truth. Not too serious, but I taught on Kabar from the Genius, Miami. All right, back when the video through Spirit. And before I started this video, I want to touch upon the true names of our Heavenly Father and His Son, Son, and Father, who they so-called God. Our true name is Yahweh, and our richest name means He is His. The true name of His Son, who they really call Jesus Christ, or Jesus Christos in Spanish, or Jesus Christ in Haitian Creole. Our true name is Yahushai, which is name He delivers. What you know what to do according to prophecy. All right, as you can see, I played that first clip, all right, from X, formerly known as Twitter, all right, regarding a strike that's going on in Iran. And as you can see, man, this is a constant thing that's going on right now. You know, they may say peace, or they may say they stopped, or they may say, oh, we paused, we trying to negotiate, but it just revolts back to the same thing, them striking each other. So, you know, which if you look at it in a sense too, it's also like a mind-playing game with the people. All right, Esau's playing a mind-playing game, and people, you know, are falling for it. Or he's saying, oh, we're getting a peace deal, this and that, or we're gonna stop it, and it just keeps restarting all over again. But then again, if you tie it to the way of prophecy, or if you look at it from a prophetic view, we understand, you know, the Lord is a man of war, and then there's prophecy that's said to come, which is gonna come, especially World War III. All right, and it has to get brewed up, all right, before it starts. All right, and that's how the Lord is doing. The Lord is brewing up these certain countries, ultimately to get them in the way of World War III. All right, He's playing with their minds, because at the end of the day, the Lord is the man, is the guy. All right, is the person who rules in the kingdom of men. Okay, there's no such thing as peace that's going to be here on this side. All right, what I mean, there's no such thing as peace that's going to be here on this side, meaning that war and hell and evils, meaning bad time, has to happen. All right, well, there's only going to be peace when the coming of Yahushua comes. But let's go into the fact that, all right, Isaiah chapter 13 verse 4, the noise of multitudes in the mountains like great people. The tumult of noise in the kingdoms, the nations gathered together. The Lord, the hosts mustered the hosts of the battle. All right, which that goes into the Lord, all right, controlling, orchestrating, all right, certain things, all right, for war. Let me see what it says in the LT. Yep, it says, hear the noise of the mountains, hear the noise on the mountains. Listen as the vast armies watch. It is the noise and shouting of many nations. The Lord of armies has called this army together, and eventually we understand that the Lord is gonna, all right, gather all nations within the Middle East. All right, scripture talking about Yahushua, means Yahweh judge. All right, to for the coming of World War III. And how do we know this? Because it's prophecy. All right, the scriptures, aka the Bible, talks about World War III. But let me get the scripture I had quoted earlier. This is Daniel chapter 4, verse 17. It says, this matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruler in the kingdom of men. All right, and He give it to whom He will, and set it up over the bases of men. And right now, the bases of men, the so-called white man, all right, has the earth in His rulership right now. But I just want to focus on a part where it says, He, the Most High ruler in the kingdom of man. All right, the Lord plays in the minds, all right, of these men to forward prophecy. All right, the Lord is ultimately who's in control. So when we see these certain things playing out, it's like, oh yeah, all right. Or when Esau may say, oh, we're summoning peace, or we're gonna have peace, or we ultimately know it's bullshit, because we understand that, all right, World War III has to eventually play out. Okay, and we know what the Lord's words are, faithful and true. Okay, let me get the Revelation 9, Verse 12 says, one war is past, and behold, there come two wars more hereafter. All right, you have World War One, then after World War One, you have World War Two. And but if you read Revelation 11, also it says, verse 14, the second one is past, and behold, the third will come quickly. And that's what we see right now. We seeing the third world coming quickly. It's like it. Right now we're seeing the third world coming quickly. Like we see these nations constantly getting mad at each other, constantly in beef. All right, because right now we're in the times of war. All right, we're not in times of peace right now. All right, let me get that Ecclesiastes. I think it's third chapter. Just to everything, there is a season and the time to every purpose in the sun. Everything has its own time, basically. All right, right now, it's again the time of war. It says a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up. That what is planted, a time to kill, and a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get, a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away, a time to rant, a time to sue, and a time to keep silence, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. Okay, that's the point, verse 8. Right now we're in the times of war. Okay. And also verse 7 says a time to speak. Right now we're speaking upon these certain things. We're prophesying a time until it's a time to keep silence, a time of family word. All right, that's why we make mention of these certain things and bring it more out in the light. And so we have brothers all four corners of the earth prophesying and making mention of the Lord and making known the coming of Yahushua and the downfall of Esau's system and the comings of prophecy like the MOTB and World War III. And we're making these normal because eventually the Lord is going to withdraw his men from speaking on a scene. Or the true prophets, I should say. They got the 100% truth. But once again, a time to love, a time to hate, and a time of war, and a time of peace. And right now we're living in times of war. See if we go back to it. Matter of fact, I already swiped out, but all right, it's a time of war. Okay, best believe World War III is gonna come. Right, because you can say the Lord words are faithful and true. Okay. Let me get done. In 2nd Ezra 15. And this war is going to be fought with fire. Right, nuclear fire. The 2nd 15, verse 1. Behold, speak down the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, said the Lord. Cause them into written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Okay. It is faithful and true. And we're seeing the brewing up of World War III. All right. And we're also seeing other prophecies like the drying up of Euphrates rivers for the coming of the World War III. All right, for the nations going to be able to come through, as the scripture say. I think it's Revelation, if I'm not mistaken. That's more of a prophecy that you can look it up and see. All right, you see that scientists, all right, or news talking about the drying of the Euphrates River. All right, just to make mention of that. But why is that happening for World War III? All right, you see how the Lord is beefing up the tensions within the Middle East, where World War III is going to happen. All right, the Lord is putting the spirit upon Russia. Gog and Magog. All right, let me see. I think it's Ezekiel 38. Lord putting 38. Can I draw? Prophesy to hold up. God, Ezekiel 38 verse 4 said, I'll turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaw, and I'll bring thee forth and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with the sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shield, and all of them having swords. That are going to how the Lord is, all right, gonna put that spirit upon them. All right, it says the hook it's in their jaws. Talking about those Russians. Okay. All right, and the Lord is brewing that up. So we can, that all goes back to the topic or that precept we started off Isaiah chapter 13. The Lord mustered the host of the battle. So the Lord is playing in these nation and these rulers' mind for the purpose of World War III. Okay. But yep. Low one is video that find and give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Kakadash. We get double honor star apostles, Elders Great Millstone. Also, just on the one, Akim, my dad, preaching his truth. Our truth city, I'm going to say, my thumb, watch on the one.